Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our live show on Mondays, Grow Wealthy Grooming. As always, I am your host, River Lee of Savvy Groomer. For those of you that don't know me, I am a certified feline master groomer. I've been in the industry over 10 years. I have got a holistic grooming salon with 5 employees. I own currently a feline exclusive mobile grooming business. I've managed doggy daycares, own a pet sitting company. I've kind of done it all. So, what I wanted to talk about today is when people tell you that you don't have a real job, whether you are a pet groomer, a pet sitter, a dog trainer, this is something we hear over and over and over again. Am I right? And there's nothing more frustrating. Don't mind me right now. I'm just moving things around. I have a really random southern twang. Today has just been a little bit of a crazy day. It's beautiful out. I had a great wedding this weekend, but because of that, everything's a little behind. My son made a mess of everything, and my cat might knock everything over. And the same thing with my standard poodle. So let me begin by talking about what the pet industry means. So when I say the pet industry, what I mean is dog trainers, dog walkers, pet sitters, groomers, people that are doing anything with cats, honestly, behaviorists, things like that. I don't really talk about pet, stores. Like we don't have to worry about them. But we know right now that the pet industry is a billion-dollar industry. It's recession-proof, and we get new customers every day. Somebody is always getting a puppy. Somebody's always getting a cat. The shelters are full of them. Breeders are going to be breeding them. So we have a lot of options. And by options, I mean we have a lot of clients that are coming in all the time, whether that's depending upon what kind of business you have. And so when we talk about pet groomers specifically, I wanted to see, okay, what does the average groomer actually earn? And according to the census, the median salaries of groomers in the US is only $22,000. I don't personally know any groomer that only makes $22,000. I'm pretty convinced that everyone's lying on their taxes. Maybe I'm wrong. But because of that, I know we make more than that. So if we're all making decent money, why is there this perception that what we do is not a real job? And everyone thinks that we just play with puppies and kitties all day, right? Well, I want to have a question for you. So if you're a business owner, and don't mind me, I'm just going to scratch my ball. I had a piece of Linton or something. Now, okay, so here's the question. If you are a business owner, are you earning double or at least more than you would earn working for someone else with the similar skill set that you have? So, that includes paying yourself for the hours you spend marketing, cleaning, being your own receptionist, and all those little jobs. Are you paying yourself for that? And remember, you need to be paid more than just a groomer salary because you risk losing everything. How many businesses unfortunately have gone under due to social media influence where a groomer has done nothing wrong, but there's been a large backlash. I actually know of a cat exclusive one in Maine that had to close because she had shaved an elderly cat. And this cat obviously was ancient and it was very matted and it came out looking terrible and its skin wasn't great. But what do you expect for a very elderly cat shaved down? And so what happened is social media took hold. She got death threats. It's not a great way to go. So as a business owner, you risk everything. So because of that, you really need to be making more than if you were just grooming for somebody. Now, for my employees here, and let me tell you, I don't think everyone should be a business owner. I do not believe that everyone should be a business owner. I think you need to find what's called your zone of genius and stick in it. If you are the most amazing groomer, but you're terrible at being a business owner, try to find some great groomer you can work for. Because the truth is, not all of us are cut out for self-employment. And I know that's a really unpopular idea, but not everyone should own their own business. You can be a great groomer and a terrible business owner. So, my employees here, are you currently working a job where you're paid a livable salary? And livable is pretty is so the way I look at livable. So what I do in my studies is I have what's called the roadmap to financial success. And in it, in my personal finance unleashed, which is my online course, we talk about survive, live, and thrive. And with that, surviving is you can pay all your bills, but you're miserable. Live is you're okay, comfortable, yeah, can pay for Netflix, you're not going under. And then survive is you're comfortable, you're saving towards retirement, there's so much more prosperity. So when I say a livable wage, I actually mean a little bit more than what you need in order to survive. So that's when I say by livable salary. I don't have a particular dollar amount in mind. Everyone's very different. Where I live in the Northeast, I just sold my house. The place I'm currently renting, this beautiful townhome, is $2,300 a month. My mortgage in a much larger home in North Providence was $2,000. So everywhere is different, and you need to know where you're living and what your expenses would be. That said, as an employee, are you making a livable salary that reflects the skills you're doing in the physical investment you've been making? And what do I mean by the physical investment? A physical investment in someone else's business is your body is deteriorating. You have an organic machine that is slowly wearing down. Are you doing things that you're going to get money back? So are you setting aside money for retirement? Do they give you health insurance? What is your employer doing? Because if you're just making, let's say, minimum wage or close to minimum wage, it doesn't make any sense. You could be working at McDonald's or Walmart or even like a local pharmacy stocking shelves, not heavy stuff. I mean, like bars of soap, potentially for the same amount of money. So if you're going to destroy your body grooming between, I've got a bad shoulder. I've got bad wrists. I have carpal tunnel in both my hands. Lower back problems. What other problems do you have? And remember, eventually you're going to need surgery for these things. You're going to need some sort of pain management, whether that's chiropractic, acupuncture, etc. So when you're an employee, you are physically investing yourself in that business. So you need to make sure that the money you're being paid, you can set aside money for that. Okay. So, and make sure you're a legal W-2 employee. There are very, very, very few situations in the grooming industry where someone can actually be a 1099. Most often, a 1099 is a misclassified independent contractor. It's so rare. It's so rare. And for those of you guys that work under the table, that's on you. You've got to make those decisions. I'm not here to judge you, but it could bite you in the ass because you can't file for unemployment. In my state, we have temporary disability insurance. So if you got hurt, you could get money within 2 weeks. They don't have that. If you get hurt, there's no workers' comp if you're under the table. So just be aware of things like that. Okay. So then ask yourself, okay, why don't people think that grooming is a real job? And the truth is, do you have financial security in your job? A lot of us don't, right? And when I say financial security, what I mean is, you're going to make at least this amount of money per week. Most of the grooming industry is commission, which is perfectly fine. However, it should be minimum wage or commission, whichever is higher. A lot of us will have positions where it's feast or famine. We're in an industry where owners will send you home. They won't have dogs for you. You will go in and it's raining and there are no dogs. Or it snows and you don't get paid for that day. And that's a really tough way to live, especially because this is a majority female-based industry. And I don't know about you, but I'm a single mom personally. I think that there are so many women that are single moms, and I hate to say that because I don't want to assume somebody's a single mom, but being a single mom, single household, living on that kind of paycheck, and we're not talking like real estate agent where they make commission only, but their commission checks are like $20,000, $30,000, but only every 6 months. We're talking you could earn $300 this week and then $2,500 the next week. That is a big swing. And it's all on things that you have no control over. So when I talk about financial security, that's what I mean. And the other reason could be that there is no room for growth. Most salons do not have a grooming salon manager. Most grooming salons are not managed very well. Let's be honest. How many times have you started a job at a salon and they just throw you on a table and give you notes for the grooming dog? And you're sitting here like, okay, and I was going to say Notes from the Grooming Table. So shout out to that book because that is a fantastic book. At least then it's like regulated. That's what, but I used to laugh because let's say if I said to somebody, okay, we're going to do a 5-blade on this dog. Okay, well, does that mean nose to tail? Does that mean what I would call a hard 5 versus a soft 5? Some people press harder on blades than others. That's the truth. Like I'd never known that. When I worked corporate for a very short period of time, actually I worked for corporate a couple of times. When I worked for corporate, sorry, I really got like hair in my eye or something. When I worked for corporate, hang on a second. So when I worked for corporate, we would have differing ideas of what a 5-blade was because some of us were using buttercuts, some of us were using Andis blades, which some of their blades were dull. Some people were using the equivalent on a comb. And so it didn't make any sense. And it was very difficult. So there's no one actually training. There's no one actually training in most salons what the standard of the salon is that you want a dog to look like, because most of us are not doing we're not doing breed cuts. And even then we're doing breed cuts, we're not doing competition level show dog clips on a dog. We are doing variations of that. I mean, ask anyone who does a Westie and a Cairn/Carn, however you pronounce it. You're going to get 30 different cuts. I mean, a Yorkie. If I said to you, okay, I want a Yorkie cut, what does that mean? Everyone has a different opinion. It's like the puppy cut debacle. So with that said, there is no room for growth because there is no management in most salons. Honestly, the only places that do have managers are your corporates. But however, your corporates, they don't really manage a salon. They're basically the punching bag of that corporation because they don't actually get to train their staff. They don't actually get to make sure their staff is complying. Yes, they can order, but a lot of times they have a set budget, and that budget is not reflecting the current needs of that salon and things like that. They have very little control and they have all the responsibility, which is the worst of both worlds. And owners tend not to manage their salons. I am always shocked at how many groomers own their shop and have employees, but they're not actually managing their employees. They're not actually training their employees. They're not doing anything to make their groomers and make their salon have more continuity. So that might be when you walk into a salon, you don't know who the boss is. And if you ask for the boss, there may not be a boss. There might be an owner, but that owner could be 3 dogs deep. So what would be another reason someone wouldn't think this is a real job? How about retirement? Does anyone here have any retirement? How much retirement? How far along are you from retirement? What is your retirement goals? Grooming till we die is not an option. It's really a bad plan. Do you have any savings? And I'm not talking like basic savings. I mean 3 to 6 months worth of, an emergency fund. Do you have that? Do you have 3 to 6 months worth of personal expenses? Not even business expenses, just personal expenses. Again, there are people who are bad with money no matter where in any industry. But in an industry where you could very easily be injured severely, I mean, you could get mauled, you could strain your back, you could be, cut yourself to the point where you can no longer groom. I mean, how many people get bitten? Cat bites can cause blood poisoning. You can go septic. There are so many ways that we as groomers can be injured permanently and a lot of people have no savings, or they can be injured for a short period of time and not have any money to float themselves along, whether they're the business owner or an employee. You need some money in case of something bad happens. At least to float you till you get a settlement. It could take years to get a settlement. It could take 5 or 6 years in litigation to get a settlement. You need at least a couple of months to float you. Man, it's depressing, isn't it? So, what's another reason? How about healthcare? How many grooming salons have you ever heard offer healthcare? There are some great salons that can afford to offer healthcare. There's not many. A lot of, I know people where I am that are not in the grooming industry, but their job is more commission based, and they actually get an hourly differential because they don't pay for health insurance. And I thought that was very interesting. They get an extra $5 an hour because they don't get health insurance, which when you think about it, that's crazy because health insurance is that expensive essentially that you need that extra $5 an hour. But no one's expected in the grooming industry to put any money towards health insurance. Like most employers, it's not even something they're going to talk about. That's pretty crazy. One other thing I will mention when you walk into a grooming salon. Now, and I know I'm not saying every grooming salon. Not every grooming salon. The majority. I want you to go to your competitor's grooming salon and walk in the door. Are people dressed like they have a dress code, or even one's vaguely implied? I was recently at a grooming salon. Whoop, I might have frozen. Oh, darn it. Let's see. Oh, God. Yep, I'm frozen. Let's see if it comes back. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I always forget what Control-Delete is on a Mac. Find out. All right, Booch. I know, I'm sorry, girl. What's that? Command Option Escape. Oh, I guess we're back. It's because I threatened it with Command Option Escape. Let me shut that door. That's fine. Well, so let's get back to it. So, how many times have you guys walked into a grooming salon and there's obviously no dress code? There's not even continuity into what constructs as a reasonable wear and what's not. We're not even talking business casual. I don't expect anyone to be wearing khakis or dress shirts when they're grooming. But what is everyone wearing? I really used to prefer wearing jeans when I was grooming. I just did. I swishy pants. I don't like the sound of it. I also don't like, I thought it just protected my legs better. That said, wearing jeans was a problem because it looks incredibly casual. And depending upon the clientele that you have, looking that casual can be a really big problem. But beyond me just wearing jeans, now I wear, grooming smock pants, and I wear a top. I actually really like my vest that I like a lot. I have a sleeveless vest. I like sleeveless vests because I sweat. It's gross. It's easier to keep cool. I'm in a van all day with cats. So with that said, how many times have you guys walked into another grooming salon and people are wearing overalls? Like not nice, cute overalls, like ratchet, fraying, trashy overalls. How many times have you guys walked in a grooming salon and people are wearing PJ pants? Like you didn't even get dressed to come to work. What about, tank tops where girls, a little bit of strap showing, that's fine. But some women will actually be grooming and their whole, they might as well have not even worn the shirt. They're just hanging out there for everyone to see. And the dogs don't care. But if a client sees that, that's a problem. Or I love t-shirts. I had t-shirts in my grooming salon, but my t-shirts were for only people who were up front, not for, or under people's smocks, not to wear when they're grooming. Why? Because a t-shirt gets wet, then it smells, then you're covered in hair. That client doesn't want to be handed their dog by someone covered in dog hair. And you're like, that's silly. They're in a grooming salon. Yes, but that dog is going to go from their house, from your salon into their car, and they may be going to work. They would like to be clean. The whole point of them paying you is to stop the dog hair from being everywhere. So that I can understand. If you were looking from the outside in, you could see these reasons being why people think that we don't have a real job. So what are some takeaways? How can we appear more professional? I think one thing is deciding in our industry that we are going to be treated like professionals. What does that mean? If you want to make this commitment, don't work under the books. Don't work under the table. Get a real job that's a W-2 job that gives you a paycheck. Don't accept don't accept an independent contractor. Why? Because 9 times out of 10, you're not an independent contractor. Your employer is just trying to avoid taxes. And I won't get into this. There are some great there are some great Facebook groups that'll explain this way better. You don't have to accept a position that's not the right position. You're better off working for yourself than accepting a position that puts you in the same position as owning your own business without the tax write-offs. Because you can't write off rent that you don't pay. And your 50% commission it's not rent. That's not how that works. So we're going to agree that we're going to get a real job and work W-2. We are going to pay our taxes, not be under the table, although that is kind of nice. I know. Yeah, it's kind of nice. What else are we going to do? We're going to dress for the job that we want, which is a professional groomer. A professional groomer is not wearing pajama pants, is not wearing a gross, smelly, wet, hair-covered t-shirt. Their bras and panties aren't hanging out. They're not wearing PJ pants. They're not looking like they're ready for a hoedown, right? In a perfect world, there's so many companies that have great smocks. Max and Molly. My personal favorite is Jody Murphy because I'm little and she makes things for tiny people. There's another great company. I always forget their name, but they have these really pretty pin-up-y style smocks. If you go to a trade show, you're going to find 3 or 4 companies that'll offer smocks. Just wear a smock, and ideally a color fitting the brand and the business. But at least then you're not covered in hair. right? So when you come out, you look like you're professional. You look like you know what you're doing. You don't look like a crazy person. Make sure that you are doing something towards saving for retirement. Whether that's personal or through your business, go ahead and consider reaching out to someone to talk about retirement. What is your retirement goal? Get some health insurance if you don't have health insurance. And if you got to pay out of pocket, that really sucks. But one dog bite, one cat bite, you've made all your money back. Ideally get temporary disability insurance for that. What are some other reasons? Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. Make sure the job that you are taking has some financial security. If you own a business, there is no financial security. But if you are taking a job from someone who is employing you, you need to make sure that if you don't make that you make at least minimum wage or commission, whichever's higher. If they tell you it's commission strictly, I would be very careful. Because what if they lose power for a week? Do you not get paid? That's also why the 50% commission rate doesn't work. The business does not have enough money to put money away for its own emergencies. And so you're both screwed. None of that's good. None of that's good. So what else? What else will make you a more professional groomer? That way people view you as a professional. Because people are always going to envy us, right? They're always going to envy us and say, wow, I'd love to work with dogs all day. Or wow, I would love to work with cats all day. Nobody says cats all day. Only when I tell them I'm a cat groomer. They'd be like, wow, I would love to do that. I would love to play with them all day. And there's no point in explaining to them that's not what we do. But to garner the same respect that we want them to give us, the same respect a teacher gets, a plumber gets, a lawyer gets, they have to present themselves in a professional way. We all know a plumber who is a professional plumber who's well put together. They're wearing a nice polo shirt or a t-shirt with their logo on it and pants that fit. And I don't see things I don't want to see. And then someone who's a slob. If you want to project that this is your career and you're proud of your career, then project that. Having some personal branding will grow your business or even make you more marketable as a groomer. And there'll always be salons that there's nothing you can do. Some salons, no matter what you do, are always going to be just Walmart and keep churning pets out. That's them. That's not you. So, sorry guys, it's a little long today. I want to thank you so much for being here. And I think that when people say you don't have a real job, I want you to see that as a reflection of I want you to see that as an option, see that as an opportunity for you to look at you and say, okay, why does this person think that I am not a professional person? I have been doing personally a lot. I've been what's called leveling up. It sounds really awful. What I am doing is I am retaking my femininity and I am creating a personal brand because that's who I want to project, is somebody well put together, competent, and feminine. That's what I want in my life personally. So, I'm not saying anyone has to do that. And you don't have to. No one's telling you to go dye your hair or grow it long or put it up in a ponytail. But when you come out to that client, look at yourself and say, do I look trustworthy? Do I look competent? Do I look put together enough that someone would leave their pet with me if we were just sitting at a park? What do you look like? And if someone says that you don't have a real job, that is generally a sign that either they've known somebody who's a groomer that is a fucking mess. They've known somebody who's a groomer who's a mess. And if you're a mess, that's okay. But you can't expect people to respect that. So I want to end it on this note. I want to invite you guys to consider joining Personal Finance on a Leash, which is my online course. This online course talks all about our survive, live, and thrive on the roadmap to financial success. We go through everything where we talk about budgeting. We talk about how to get our money under control, because most of us, it's not a lack of money, it's just a lack of control of that money. We also go through lifestyle choices, figuring out whether you should be an employee or an owner or both, what your zone of genius is. You go through limiting beliefs on wealth. And I know every groomer could honestly use this course. I designed this course to grow the industry towards a positive outlook, because the next time someone says this is not a real job, I don't know, I want to say that. I want to grow this industry in a way that people see us as professionals. And sometimes that takes money. Sometimes it takes looking at your personal situation and trying to figure out, okay, where can I make some extra money to hire someone to help me? To hire a business coach, to hire a graphic designer to create a professional looking logo, hire someone to do your payroll and do your taxes and your books, make extra money in order to make a better salon. So I would really like to invite you guys to do that. If you would like, I'll put a post below. If you're watching this replay later and Personal Finance on a Leash is not currently open, we do have a waiting list, and you're welcome to watch for that waiting list. We do launch Personal Finance on a Leash only twice a year. And because of that, there can be a little bit of a waiting list, because it is a live class. So we have an online course portal, and then we go through it together as a class. And what's nice about that is that once you sign up, you can go through it again as many times as you would like. It's a wonderful, wonderful course. It's 12 weeks long. It's amazing. Well, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you all next week at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Mondays. Happy grooming, guys. Oh, and no, that's good.